But notice this is only pushed onto one groups of people. They all share two things in common: one, they are European Caucasians, and two, they are or were former Christian nations. Who has hated Christ from before the day he was born. Of course, the seed of Satan, the Almighty had told us who the spawn of the Canaanites were and are today. When our Messiah told us they had been responsible for all the righteous bloodshed since the day of righteous Abel, he was telling the truth. If the Almighty had been lying, he would have broken his own commandments: "Thou shalt not make false accusation." He knew, those who are proven through their study know, the same seed line against the women in the Bible was always Israel is being attacked in these latter days. Which is Jacob's trouble by the same people, same groups. It's funny, most Christians who follow churchianity never go back to the Old Testament. The Old Testament, when you mention it, is like mentioning some bad family member that the family shuns. My point is that those peoples from the Old Testament did not vanish from the face of the earth. If you trace their lineages, you find we are fighting the same war today. This is an ancient biblical law, and the Israelites in the West are blind. They have not figured it out. They are blinded by the enemies of God, but we can take comfort in one fact. God, the Almighty Yahweh, will always win. With God, despite all the forces against us, we win in the end. We may not be here to see it, but we win. Because when you are for God, then nothing can stop your plans. Because there is no deed or plan that can succeed against the Most High. It is, as you know, impossible to wake up many of our people. They are demoralized without hope. They cannot see even if we show them all the evidence, but it has to be this way, for how will those two pieces of wood come together in the end, as the seer mentioned? It has to be this way. It is all part of the plan. With water issues hitting the country, it will not be long before those stomach diseases erupt in Johannesburg and cause greater violence. These floods we are seeing, I believe, are part of the dream vision of rivers running in all directions, as mentioned in the channel comments. If this is the dream, and if this plays out, then we can expect anger from the colored community reaching boiling point, starting in the Northern Cape and spreading to the Western Cape. Things are going from bad to worse. You have to prepare and make sure you are stocked up. We do not know what was in those containers dropped off in Simon's Town. We Ramaphosa entering into the spotlight, and the spotlight is not bright yet. It will get brighter, and as this all takes place, something big is going to happen in Europe, and then, if it is the Almighty's way that all this shall be fulfilled, the media as we know it will collapse and shine bright on South Africa. Make sure you are stocked up, prepared, and have joined a group or formed a group. There is one thing which I have to mention, since it has come up before. Many people do not want to join groups because many say they are infiltrated by agents. If you believe that, then form your own group. I want to tell you what happens to these agents and what we used to in the old days call traitors. I want you to imagine, before you are two ships. Large ships out at sea, one pointing in a westward direction and the other going eastward. Between both these ships is a rope or a line. The agents, traitors, jingoes who wish to work against the nation are caught between these two ships. Each going in their own direction. The one ship has a hole in the hull, a hole in the bottom of the ship, and though moving in one direction, it will sink. The other ship, which has been chained up for a century, is being let loose. Guided by God, it has direction, purpose, and will be rich. Now these agents are going to have to play the best balancing act. You see, that rope can only stretch so far before it snaps. If they act too late, they will not be accepted on either ship. They have a very short window of opportunity to choose either side, but either way the rope is going to snap, and when it snaps, below you will see the sharks swirling in the ocean waiting to eat them. That is going to be the condition of these people. This ship, it's sailing, it's moving. You may not feel it. You may not perceive that it is moving, but it is moving. It is being guided by the Most High. The century of bondage has ended. It ended in March 2020, and the chains are coming undone. The nations, the government, the world powers, Though powerful, they are no match for the Most High. They may rage, they may froth, they may bring false accusations, trumped up charges. In the end, you cannot fight God, you will lose every time. The ship's century of bondage ended, its chains, its anchor is being lifted, and when they hit the deck, this ship will sail in a new direction. On an onward and upward path back to our true destiny, where we only find happiness among our own people, and when we were the happiest with our backs against the world. The world, following the world, has only brought us great shame, great distress. It has not been any benefit to us. The nations, the morally bankrupt West, have never called out the evil once. It is fine, let God judge them. Forget the world, turn to God, with God as your compass, with God in the winds of your sails and in the hearts and mind of the people. The crew manning this ship, there is a great and final destination for this ship. Those who seek to sink it, those who seek to derail it, will not be able to stop it. Did anyone stop Ramaphosa being in the spotlight? Did anyone stop Boris Johnson putting on the army uniform? Did anyone stop Poland getting their POWs? Did anyone stop the quakes which hit Chile? Did anyone stop the rains from falling? Who stopped Russia rolling out their tanks? And so I ask you, dear nations, and those with eyes and ears to hear, who will stop the chains coming undone when the century of bondage has already taken place? Who can stop the scroll opening now over Britain after she removed her laws? Can anyone, one of you, can all you nations even stop a single thing the Most High has decreed? No. You can't. They may try, but it shall be in vain. There is nothing, no one, no nation, no superpower. No one on earth who will stop this ship sailing when the chains hit the ground. You may rage, you may not like these words, you may fight me. You may oppose me, and may the Almighty show his ways are not this world ways. He has a plan and destination for this nation. This ship is setting sail. You have only but a short time to walk that rope. When it snaps, when you hit the water, you will be eaten by the sharks. There is no plan which can succeed against the Most High. You worry about the wrong things. Make sure you join a group, form a group or community. Before I finish off here, recently there was that threat of ISIS in South Africa. Now, of course, nothing came about with it. It was simply the US showing they could still pull a trick with South Africa. Anyway, I am not scared or concerned about terrorists, but the real issue is if a world power steps in to stop something like that, then there is an issue. Once they step in, should they step in, they could perceive any group, community as a threat, whether real or unreal. These things need to be pondered, considered. It does not mean do not join a group, but think about some superpower getting involved and trying to make sure the political party they want to be in power stays in power. They would eliminate any perceived group or community, whether real or not. Also, we see how the timeline dream of no fuel in December is playing out. Makes me wonder where I saw the dream vision and heard the words, in order to maintain peace and stability in South Africa, recently tied in with what has been delivered. Ramaphosa on the stage, and the seer said something happens with the communists, but it goes badly wrong. That badly wrong, I believe, is tied to the dream visions from 2020. Where I covered what I saw with the jets arriving, and the other side of the dream vision where there was some coup and something like 75 people were involved with it, red hats, commies and ANC members, which could be the reason why Ramaphosa is alone on the stage when this spotlight hits South Africa in full force. We wait and see the unfolding. These are things which should be thought upon. It's also interesting that the Russian shipment arrived in the Cape. Some speculated that what they were delivering is David Mabuza's luggage, since he missed his flight to Moscow. Who knows? We can always ask Zuma to count and make sure that they have returned the right amount of luggage. He might even get lucky and find a nice can of beetroot in there from Russia. Perhaps it's some secret technology to bring Wakanda from out below, buried deep in the belly of South Africa. Technology they have been hiding from the evil racist whites. Or this could just be a bunch of fala, nothing, only time will tell. With that I shall leave you to ponder all these things. May you call upon God. May you call and pray day and night. May you join me in prayer for the nation. I pray God's blessings be poured upon you, dear nation. May God guide you in all your ways. May He lead you, inspire you, assist you in all your ways. May tens of thousands of the heavenly hosts move this ship. May God be with you this festive season. May the Most High keep you safe. I join you to join me in our daily call. It will not cost you a cent. You can always count on the call being answered. May you dial the Most High on your knees. Unlike other calls that may or may not be answered, you can rest assured, through the blood of Christ, the Messiah, Yeshua Jesus, that your call shall be answered. Pray for the nation. Pray and call night and day. May the God of Israel raise this nation, guide this nation, and be with you in all your ways. God bless. Praise Yahweh, God of heaven and earth.